Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Welcome, everybody, to Real Estate Investing Live with Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, Mr. Talk to People. Thank you, audience out there. I appreciate it. What a great day. Oh, what an incredible, incredible day. What an incredible opportunity we have in front of us to really take some action today and make a difference not only in our business, but in our communities. Remember this. This is the rule. This is the rule of your income. Your income is equal to the amount of value that you provide to your community, to your marketplace, to your neighborhoods. You want to make 100,000, you want to make 50,000, you want to make $1 million, you want to make $1 billion, whatever it is, you have to provide that amount of value to your community. And the way that you start doing that is by using your talents, your skills, your ability, and your voice to go out there and talk to distressed property owners, truly motivated people that have stress and anxiety about their properties, and see if they're ready to make a change. See if they're ready to sign that agreement and start moving forward and getting away from all that stress and all that anxiety that their properties are causing in their life. All right, so income equals value, baby. That is it. So let me ask you this. Boom. Everybody's read it, right? If you haven't read it, I mean, I don't even know how you found this channel, because almost everybody that watches this, that subscribes to this channel has read this book. And this is kind of the catalyst. This was the first spark for a lot of people. It certainly was for me in my story, in my life. Reading this book as a young, mushy-headed 21-year-old, it just absolutely put me on a path to financial literacy, because I understood this, right? This right here. This is what was talked about in this book, all right here. Now, this is ESBI. This sounds kind of like, what is this? What is this breakdown? But if you've read the book, you understand. When most of us start out, we start off as employees, right? A lot of us have jobs. A lot of us have responsibilities. A lot of us are doing things. I don't care if you're in school, but you're working. A lot of us have done some work. Now, I've never had a job per se, but I was a real estate agent for a long time. And if you're a real estate agent out there, you know as well as I do that, Matt's face was just there. You know as well as I do that when you're working with sellers and buyers, you are their employees. They're your boss for that little segment of time that you're working with them. But most of us start off as employees, and then this is where we start, right? This is where we go into our entrepreneurial path as self-employed, right? We are making the calls. We are doing the follow-ups. We're selling these deals. We're pulling the list. We're texting them out. We're sending the emails. We're working with title. We're doing all those things, but don't get it twisted. You're not an entrepreneur yet. You're not a business owner yet. You are self-employed. All right. This is very, very, very interesting and critical to understand, because we live in this space for a while until we start building up the momentum in our business to start having the leadership capabilities and the financial capabilities to have the financial responsibility of the people that work for us in our hands. All right, and that's when we become a business owner. When we start hiring people and we start paying them and they start working for us and they start taking, certain responsibilities, certain tasks off of our plate, that's where we end up. And then, of course, as we start building this up and we really put the right people in place, then all of a sudden it frees up your time. And when your time is freed up, as our entrepreneurial brains start running wild, we're restless. We want to do stuff. That whole vision of sitting on a beach for the next 20, 30 years, just soaking in the sun and drinking pina coladas, that ends after like 4 days. Right? Our brains are just wired. We're just crazy. We want to do stuff. We want to be in action. We want to be in service to the community. So as a business owner, we start investing. We start using the capital, the money that we're making right here as a business owner, and we start investing in the assets. That's what we're talking about, right? The cash flow quadrant. This is kind of pounded into all of our heads as financial literacy right here. But what I want to talk to you about today is scaling it in this level, right? Scaling it in the business level. Because I'll tell you right now, and I'm going to break down, I'm going to show you everything. I'm going to come over here, Matt. I'm going to show you everything every breakdown of every person that works for me, what that looks like, what their responsibilities are, and what I pay them. And the reason I want to give you this blueprint is because I want to show you what it looks like so that you can keep 40 to 50% of the profits and work in your business only a couple hours a week. And that's true, 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 true. This being able to set it up the way that I've set it up allows me to be able to do this. It allows me to coach. It allows me to really, really live with that purpose of talking to as many people as possible and sharing how incredible the wholesaling and real estate investing business is. And I wouldn't be able to do it without the incredible people that work with me. Now, listen, they don't work for me. If you want to be a boss, that's interesting, but it's going to be short-lived and you're going to go through a lot of frustrations. You want to be a leader, that's a totally different thing. And if you're a leader, they work with you, they don't work for you. You know, you are the rainmaker. You need to provide the opportunities. You need to be able to provide the amount of leads coming in for lead generation to be able to fuel the rest of your business. That is your responsibility. All right. Now, listen, some people self-employed is LeBron James. Right? That's him. The business owner is the owner of the Lakers. All right? There's a big difference there. And listen, some people are just killer at closing deals and hustling. They just want to stay in their pocket and they want to do their deals and have the flexibility of schedule. And I completely understand if you want to stay in that self-employed. But as a business owner, you are responsible. You are a firefighter. You're dealing with drama all the time. You're dealing with market changes. You're dealing with deals falling out. You're dealing with the emotions of the people that work with you, the emotions of the sellers, the emotions of the buyers. All of these things come to your doorstep. All right. And you're responsible for them. And that's a huge responsibility. So, but it's incredible when you crack it. It's incredible when you understand these people, you work for these people, you work with these people. They're not working for you. When you get to that point, you are not going to just jam it down their throat and be that tyrant leader, that tyrant boss out there that's like, hey, you do this or you're going to get fired. No, it doesn't work. I'm telling you. So let's put up that screen, Matt, of the breakdown of my company. Here it is. Look at this. This is it right here. Okay, now first of all, this is broken down into 3 parts, just like we break down the wholesaling and real estate investing business. Real estate investing, wholesaling, same thing in the breakdown. There's only 3 parts: lead generation, conversion, and then exit strategy or disposition. Now, if you'll see all the way over, you're going to see the most critical person in my business is Jackie Thornburg. She is the lead manager. All right. She gets paid $28 an hour. She loves the flexibility. She works from home. All right. And what she does is she organizes all the lists. She organizes all the phone prospectors. She organizes the text blasting. She organizes all of the marketing to make sure that the engine of our business is constantly rolling, constantly going. And she makes sure that the leads coming in that go over to the conversion side are quality. What do I mean by quality? Every lead is looked at through the lens of the 4 pillars of pre-qualifying, which is condition of the property, timeline to sell, motivation to sell, and the price. She looks at every single lead really quickly and determines, does it need to go back to our phone prospector to get more pre-qualifying before it goes to our acquisition managers, or is it ready to go over right now? This is a critical step because this keeps the leads going over to conversion very clean and very quality. All right, and you're going to see that we've got our phone prospectors. I hired those phone prospectors. 2 of those, Darian and Fran, are with callmotivatedsellers.com. Callmotivatedsellers.com. I've worked with them for 3.5 years. They've been absolutely phenomenal. Fran has been with me for 3 of those. Darian's come on about 1.5 years ago, but they live abroad. They live in Costa Rica, but they are American citizens. English is their first language, and they really get through and really get us some unbelievably quality leads. Timothy is an American living in the Philippines, and he is with callingreps.com, and he is at $10 an hour. So there's some play there. And I want to open this up to a lot of comments and a lot of conversation because I want to dive deep into any questions that are rolling around in your mind during these 2 hours that we're spending together on this live show. All right. Tao is texting at $14 an hour. He's texting, responding, and then kicking it to Jackie. And then Lisa is our VA in the Philippines. She's been with me since 2014, and she just cleans up any of the organization and does some transaction coordination so that all of the deals go smooth. smooth. All right, now we move over to conversion, and this one is bananas. This took me a while to figure out, and I know a lot of other companies have figured this out before me, but having a junior acquisition manager, Chad, this guy is the workhorse. All right, we found him on LinkedIn. He was knocking doors, selling solar in the middle of the summer in Phoenix during COVID. All right, how crazy is that? Right? So he just has that fire in his belly, and he makes between 50 to 60 lead follow-up calls. He's not generating leads. He's doing the lead follow-up. Now, on this, you're going to see something unique here in my business. I pay my acquisition managers a base salary. All right? That's for a couple different reasons. One, the security that they have of having that base base salary makes them feel good, and also it kind of keeps them from, starting their own businesses, what I find. All right, and so the biggest problem that we have in this business is turnover of talent. So with the base, there's something in the mind that says, okay, I've got this security. I don't want to go out there and necessarily be an entrepreneur right now. Right? And I really like that. And then Ryan Thornton, one of my best friends, and I'll show you a picture of him later. It's going to be hilarious. But he's the acquisition manager. Base is $60,000 plus he gets 6% commission. Now those 2% commission and 6% commission are based on the amount that we make. All right, the assignment fee or what we make on a flip or whatever else, that is what they make on that. It's not of the purchase price. All right, and then if you'll get rid of me, I'll go to Jeremy, my disposition manager. All right, this is incredible. Now, people tell me, Brent, you're paying your disposition manager too much. You could just, it's a drug dealer. They're just selling drugs. You don't need sales skills to sell drugs. It's something that everybody wants. They're discounted properties. It's not hard to sell these things. I am telling you, Jeremy gets the most out of every single deal. Not only that, but he is building the cash buyer database. So he gets 5% of the deal if it's under 15,000. 7.5 if it's under 30, between 15,000 and 30, and 10% over 30,000. And let me show you a real life example of a text yesterday that I got from Jeremy on a deal, and this is why he gets paid the way that he does. Look at this. He has been negotiating on this deal all over the place. We've been kind of messing around with our cash buyers. We also wanted to see what was going on with those big iBuyers, the OfferPad, the Open Door, the Zillow. Look at this. When we originally got this property, we got it for $192,739. That was the total purchase price plus closing costs. And we thought, well, the comps are at about 305. This is going to be a nice, juicy deal. OfferPad just offered us $325 net. That is a $132,000 deal right there. $132,000. I am telling you. And I mean, the OfferPad, Open Door, he's been negotiating with both, but he keeps this, he does a really good job of opening the market to different buyers so that we can get the most out of every single deal. So I congratulate him on that. What a fantastic job. And I am telling you, you start closing those deals over 6 figures, woo, things start getting exciting. That goes, that goes right into that eye right there, right into investing, right into putting it back into some assets. And that's how you really, really, really build wealth is, one, you got to have an incredible team behind you, supporting you, and bought into understanding that we are out there helping the community every single day. But 2, pushing the value of all of these properties so that we can get the most out of every single one. So that is the breakdown of my company. If we'll put it up one more time, Matt, for everybody, this is the breakdown. If you're ever wondering what that looks like, and by the way, if you look at this, only 4 of them live in town. And by the way, they all work from home. They only come into my office on Fridays at 10 a.m. to meet with the TTP family members, the students that I have around the country, fly in to spend time with them and go through our scoreboard and take a look at what our business actually looks like. But that's the breakdown. And I'm telling you, it has been the best structure that I've put together in this business, and been doing it since 13. So 8 years it took to get here. I want to give this to you now so that you guys have a roadmap of what that looks like. Because here's the thing. A lot of people, just put me back on, Matt. A lot of people want to have these huge offices and huge teams and all these other things. But if you look at the net bottom line, it gets pretty rough. the more people. So my encouragement is hire somebody, pay them like they're worth 2 people, and work and have them work like they're 3 people, and be really, really, really efficient, and just don't have a lot of fat on there that you have to get through. Just keep it really lean so that you could keep most of the profits, because there's no point in building up these huge companies that only net you a small fraction of what you actually make on it, because you have so much overhead and so much expenses and so much stress, and you're impacting so many people's lives because all of their families now, you're financially responsible for them. Keep it lean, keep it tight, keep the profits, and then invest in real estate. That is the plan. That is the plan. So that is a breakdown on scaling your business. Now, I would, and this is a suggestion from Sean Terry, I think it's absolutely phenomenal. Don't hire somebody until you make $30,000 3 straight months. Did you hear me? $30,000 3 straight months. All right. So that is when you start hiring people. That's when you know that you have something in place that is consistently performing. So you don't have to hire people, get their hopes up, and then all of a sudden 45 days, 60 days, 90 days later, you have to tell them that you can't work with them anymore, or you have to just go back to doing the work yourself. So what I would say is take your time with hiring people. Do this business first. When you are making calls, when you are picking up and you're that self-employed real estate investor and you're calling and calling and calling, make sure that you talk to 1,000 people. Listen to me, 1,000 people yourself before you hire a phone prospector. Well, Brent, I just want to hire somebody at $4 an hour to make calls, and if it works out, it works out. It's not going to work out. Well, listen, it might work out for a deal. It might work out for 2 deals, but it's not going to build a business, and it's building you really bad habits. And when you're making the calls yourself, you understand what are the best lists, who you should be going after, what are the conversations sounding like, where are the cash buyers looking to buy properties. All of these things are critical data points that need to be put into your brain so that you have the experience to be a true leader in this space. So enjoy the grind. Enjoy that time. Enjoy the journey when you're getting rejected. Enjoy I talked to 45,000 property owners myself. Like, that is part of it. And I look back on it fondly. I'm like, oh my gosh, I could talk to anybody about real estate forever. It is something that lasts with you forever. So don't just go into this thing being a fake entrepreneur, hiring people before you're a true leader, thinking that you're a boss and that they work for you. You work for them. Don't get it twisted. You need to have extreme ownership over your business and over the people and over their financial futures. And with that, you can do that if you're putting in the groundwork, if you're laying down the proper foundation for your business. So it's incredible. This business is absolutely incredible. It can do, I'm telling you, 2 to 3 hours. That's what I put into my wholesaling business right now. And exciting, at the top of the hour, I'm going to have Ryan, my acquisition manager, who's an absolute superstar, come in. He's going to answer some questions. I'm going to ask him some stuff, and you guys are going to get to know him a little bit better. So make sure that you have your questions ready for him there. All right? So that is my 18-minute on the soapbox. That is the breakdown on how to scale your business and when to do it. 30,000, 3 straight months. Talk to at least 1,000 people before you hire somebody to make the calls for you. Build your business lean. Keep most of the profits so that you can get into this box, because that's where the real money's made. The real money's made as an investor. All right? Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And I'm excited for Ryan to come in. It's going to be great. Also, as we get going, we're going to open this up to questions, guys. So any questions or comments that you have, please put it in there. We are monitoring Instagram as well. So if you have questions there, Alejandro will put them in. If you're getting value out of this already, make sure if you have not subscribed that you do subscribe. This is one of those things where it's not like, oh, I just want to subscribe and forget about it. Maybe it'll pop up and everything. Push that alert button so that you see when something new pops up, because it's going to give you juice. It's going to give you instruction. There's no fluff to it. There's no BS to it. It's going to go straight into how to make your business more effective and more profitable. And you need to get these messages every single day. So make sure that you subscribe and hit that bell button. Woo! We're rolling, Mike. I am telling you, I love talking about my team. I love talking about the business. I do.
Okay, so that was awesome, but I got some questions. So,
Yep.
that structure that you've got, keeping it, no office, not spending a bunch of money on marketing. Compare your profit margin as a wholesaling business owner
Yep.
to all these other guys and gals that have the big office and are spending a lot of money on marketing. What does that look like?
I see typically they're netting about 10 to 20%, and we're at 40 to 50. Well, I'm at 40. I won't go 50. That's too much. I pay my guys well. With having a base for my acquisition managers and paying Jeremy as much as I do for Dispo, it eats up that, but it's well worth it. I think in the long run, if you look at the total profits over the year, it's going to be higher than if you try to, nickel and dime there and squeeze that.
So, and what that means is on $1 million wholesaling business, somebody who's spending a lot of money on overhead, they're going to keep, 100 to 200,000 to where you're keeping, 400,000.
Yep.
Right?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
That's exactly right. Yep. So that's what it's about. This business is not about fueling your ego and looking good on the gram, having doing walkthroughs or whatever of your office and what's going on. It's about what are you bringing home? What are you netting? What are you investing? What are you doing with that money once you have it? Right? And not to knock anybody. Everybody has different strategies. I'm just saying, if your strategy is to make the most money so that you could buy the most assets, this is the way to do it.
And have the most time.
So
another quick question. So if we could get the
breakdown.
Yep, the breakdown.
Yep.
So because we're talking about scaling, again, before you start scaling, you got to talk to 1,000 people, right? And you got to make 30 grand 3 months in a row, so 90 grand over 3 months, right? Before you start hiring. In what order would you start hiring these people?
I love it. So the first thing that I did was I took off. If you look, and we have a great video, it's the video that has the most views on this channel, and it breaks down every single step in the wholesaling business. And I looked at that, Mike, and I go, okay, what do I want to delegate first? All right. And it was operations. It was doing stuff like cleaning up the list to get it skip traced. It was like taking the skip trace list to put it into the dialer. It was putting the leads that we have from our phone prospectors into our CRM so that it was clean and it was easily organized and it was put together and really formatted so it was easy to understand who we need to talk to every day, or who I needed to talk to every day. And that's what Lisa did off the bat. So she was my VA taking over operations. And then the second hire was a phone prospector. And that was Edwin, and he was in the Philippines. I got him off of Fiverr or Upwork, and he was with me for a while. He started his own company, but then I went to lead generation. And I was following up with the leads, getting the contract signed, and at the time, my business partner, Dustin, who was selling those deals.
So to get that chart up again, the first people that you hired was the VA.
Yep.
Then you hired phone prospectors.
Yep.
Then did you hire Jackie's position, or did
No.
you move over in? Okay, so then what after that?
And then I got an acquisition manager. And what I found was, because the engine of my business, the lead generation, was going so fast, I was overwhelming my my acquisition manager with too many leads. My acquisition manager at the time was Billy Bell, who turned into disposition manager and who has an incredible business now out of San Diego. But it was he was having too many leads, that there was too many tasks falling through the cracks. So then that's when the evolution to Jackie being the filter and being able to look at these leads before they get to the acquisition manager really made a difference, because too many leads hides the best leads, right? Let me say that again. Too many leads is not a great thing. Too many leads hide the best ones, because if they're not quality leads and you're looking at what do you do today and you've got all these new leads coming in, but they're bearing, you got 15 new leads today and the fourth one is the one that's really quality and really hot, but you got to go through 11 calls to get there. Sometimes it would just slip through the cracks. Things would happen.
So one last thing, just to wrap this up. Let's see the chart, Matt. So first you're getting VA. Then you get your phone prospectors, then you go into acquisition, then you go into lead manager, and then is the last person that you start hiring out the dispo manager?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
Cool.
I was taking care of dispo, and then Billy took that over, and then Jeremy took it over. Yep. Yeah. Yep. And then from there, you know, the hardest part was comping, Mike. The hardest part was getting out of comping every single lead that came in to know what the offer price was. Because my acquisition managers were like, hey, what price can I offer on this thing, right? I didn't want them comping properties all day. I wanted them on the phone talking to people all day. And I didn't want them to have preconceived notions on what was a good lead, what was a great lead, what was an okay lead. I just wanted them to go after everything and let the process determine that, as opposed to just assumptions, as opposed to hallucinating what this lead was worth. And because of that, we were able to get a lot more deals, a lot more bigger deals as well, because we were able to really focus on the quality of the leads that we get.
So right now in your business, who's like front line for comping right now? I know you spot check the guys in Cali.
Jeremy is.
Got it. Whoa.
So that's part of disposition. That's part of dispo. So Jeremy is comping all the properties. It took us about 6 to 8 months of going back and forth until he figured it out. But he got it pretty quick. He got it within 30 days, but little nuances, about 6 to 8 months. No real estate background at all. Listen, here's the interesting thing about Jeremy, my disposition manager, and Ryan, my acquisition manager, is we were college roommates. Not that one. Put in the one of all three of us, Matt. We were college roommates, and now we all work together. None of them were in real estate. Matt, will you pull up that picture, please? Of all three of us? Okay. Yeah, there we go. There we are. Look at those guys. Whoa. Yeah, so that's my disposition manager and my acquisition manager right there. We played college football together and we're college roommates. Ryan went on to be a police officer for 12 years, and Jeremy was doing drop shipping before drop shipping was a thing, but he was a correction officer. He's done a lot of different things. So they're both in it, and I couldn't be more excited. And that's what I'm talking about when you become a magnet in this business and you start having that energizing enthusiasm about this business. You start pulling in and attracting people that you know and like and trust and love. And when they have unbelievable talent, it's just exciting to watch them, come into the business and just take over. So people ask, where do you find these people? How do you find them? I think they're in your phone. I think they're in your Rolodex. I think that they're in your Facebook, friends. I think that they're people that there's a lot of talent there. And if you're doing really well, and if you've got that enthusiasm about it, that energy about it, people are going to want to work with you. So boom, there you go. Jesse, we ready? We are ready. Let's hit this thing. Samuel, right off the bat, welcome. Thank you, brother. Thank you for being on here. You have been just an unbelievable supporter of the show. So, and I don't even know if it's supporter. I think it's like interactor. An unbelievable. Is that a word? I don't know. Who is figuring out which list to pull and who is pulling them? What about driving for dollars? Well, that's the easy one, Samuel. First of all, driving for dollars. That is something that we've done. We've paid somebody to drive around the whole town. It was actually Jeremy's dad, and it was a couple other people that were getting some free coaching from me for going out and driving. So we've got the whole area driven at this point. I think probably a year from now, we'll probably redo it again just to kind of update that. But we've got the whole area done, which is pretty awesome. But we were paying like $12 an hour for driving, maybe $20 an hour to Jeremy's dad, just because he was like super consistent. And then who is figuring out which list to pull? That's me. That 2 hours, that's me. I'm seeing those. I've got the experience. I've got some ideas. Like, for example, right now, the big thing in our market is people are buying properties at ridiculous prices to do Airbnbs, right? It's like this crazy thing. Values are going bananas in certain areas like Scottsdale and Central Phoenix and North Phoenix and Flagstaff and Prescott. People are buying these properties for Airbnb, so I want to go after those properties. So I'm always keeping an eye on what people are buying. So I'm always in my MLS because I have my license. I'm always in my MLS looking at where things are going bananas. And I just look at, okay, what were the prices last month? What were the prices the month before? Where are they at now? What am I hearing on the streets? What's going on? Squatting up with the other people, the other incredible real estate professionals in our market. You start realizing, okay, we can push values in certain markets, and that's where my expertise as the owner comes in. Great question. Okay, from IG, Josh Slade. What do we do when we have a rental property under contract and the lender needs to send an inspector, but the tenant won't let us in? Well, I mean, here's the thing. Typically, you have to give a tenant 48-hour notice because of the Landlord-Tenant Act. And if you give them written notice, you should be able to get access. You might have to go there, Josh, and knock on the door and have a conversation with that tenant and just say, hey, listen, we don't want to disrupt your life. The time has come for this seller to sell this property. And so we want to make this as smooth as possible. But we can only do that if the lines of communication are open. So I want to keep the lines of communication. Here's my cell phone number. I want to be able, we're going to have to get people in here to check out the property. I can do it at your convenience, but I got to do it in the next couple of days. And, but whatever fits your schedule, we'll be in and out, but the sooner we can do it, the faster it'll be done and we'll be out of your hair. So this is all benefits towards the tenant. Remember, the tenant thinks that this is their property, right? As soon as you sign that lease and you put your TV mounted on a wall, I don't care if it's an apartment or a house or whatever, you're like, this is my place now. Oh, this is my place. Nobody comes in the door unless I want them to, right? That's the way that you feel. You start nesting in that place and you don't want strangers coming in there. That's weird. So just understand that, have empathy for that, and just go talk to them and just give them the benefits and explain the process. And then they'll take their TV off the wall and their mount and they'll go somewhere else and put it somewhere else. You know what I mean? If you're not going to inherit that tenant. So that's just, I mean, that is what happens when you don't own property. If you're a tenant, these things happen, right? As long as you're month to month. So I would just have a conversation with that tenant and just tell them, hey, listen, I want to make this as smooth for you as possible. I don't want to get, I don't want to be pounding on the door. I don't want to be, trying to chase you down or whatever else. Let's make this as smooth as possible because this is going to happen. This is just going to happen. So, and remember, tenants have lives. So just remember, it's all benefits to them. Benefit, benefit, benefit. Awesome. What do you guys think of the new angle? Look at this. You guys can see the bananas. You can see everything. The TV's right there. It's not all the way back. I like it. I'm digging this. You can see the flamethrower. It's right there. There you go, Elon. Jose, Brent, I'm ready to pull a list. What do you recommend? I'm in Northern Cali. Well, first of all, driving for dollars for sure. Dealmachine.com. Use the TTP coupon code. 80% of new real estate investors get their first deal from driving for dollars. That's just a fact. Because listen, this is a sign of distress. When you see a property that needs some love on a street, that's a sign of distress. Those are likely people that are going to want to sell it as is. So you want to be going after that right away. You want to start building that up. And then in Northern Cali, it just depends on where you're at and how rural it is. But if you're in a major city, just start pulling the tired landlord list. It's gonna be a fist fight, but find property owners that don't live in it, right? They're absentee owners. So this is people that are landlords. You want to go after properties that were built before 1990. You want them owned for at least 5 years. And if that list is too big, then go 7 years, go 10 years, and then go after those properties. And I would probably put them under the price point in Northern Cali of original purchase price, probably in $250,000 and below, and test that out. And then you could do multifamily the same. I would do multifamily. I would also do vacant land. But your best bet, Jose, off the bat, drive for dollars, get the ball rolling, get those checks coming in, right? Yeah. It was interesting today, Mike. I had a welcome call with Dwayne. He's a new student, phenomenal. And he was talking, he's a teacher, and he talked about diplomas and he really likes mastering things and getting the paperwork that says that he is good at this, right? And I was like, well, the piece of paper that you get that shows that you're good at this is the check at the end of the day. You literally can have unlimited diplomas, unlimited certificates of whatever. I mean, that's how incredible this business is you literally get a receipt for your efforts. It's called your that wire that hits your account to that check that you pick up from the title company or closing attorney. So
I feel like in a hot market where there's a lot of competition, like California, lots of places in California, you have to drive for dollars.
You have to.
Right.
Guys, I'm telling you, any of those hot markets, you got to drive for dollars. You have to. You have to, because it's easy to pull a list. It's easy to pull a list right off and call, and they work, by the way. They absolutely do work, but you have to get a lot more no's than you would if you're driving for dollar. Yep. Khaldun, I wouldn't call after 9. I honestly, my kind of rule of thumb is if the sun's up, it's good. So it just depends on where you live. But I typically shut it down. Now, listen, if you're working all day long and you don't get off until a certain time, I would probably not call any, after 8 o'clock, to be honest. Later, you're just not going to get people at their freshest and their most, they're ready to have a conversation with a stranger. By 8 to 9, I mean, people are doing stuff. They're watching games, they're watching TV, they're watching whatever. So yeah. 8 o'clock, and I would just call it, when the sun's up, it's good. And then what I would do, Khaldun, is just push it to the weekend and time block during the weekend when you can really focus and have a super Saturday or a super Sunday. But super Saturdays are fun. That's awesome. From IG, do you have a script for tax liens? No. I mean, here's the thing. When somebody has a tax lien, it just depends on where you're at and how motivated they are to sell that property, because you can go years before there's any kind of real repercussions for tax liens. But I would just reach out to them the same. I would just ask them if they would consider an offer. I always think that it's weird calling somebody up. And listen, you can test this out. Absolutely test this out. But I think it's weird when you call somebody up and you're just starting to talk about their property and certain things that you pulled up from tax records, and they're like, it kind of puts them on their back foot. But if you just call up and you're friendly and you're the neighbor, you're a neighbor, you live in the area, or if you're virtual, whatever, you do business in there, in that neighborhood, just ask them if they would consider an offer, and just go from there. You don't have to be like, well, listen, Richard, it looks like your property came up on my computer as a tax lien, and I was just calling to see, when do you plan on selling the property? Right? I mean, you could try out some stuff like that, but I haven't found it very effective. It kind of makes people feel a little bit sad, and when you make them feel sad, or a little bit like they're avoiding it, or they're just not, like, it's just not in their brain, they're just like, oh, whatever, I don't care, I'll take care of it. The conversation doesn't blossom as quickly as I'd like it to. Boom. Pete, can you recommend some hot markets where the Dealmachine would be highly effective for driving for dollars? Pete, I would say anywhere. I mean, here's the thing, Pete, it just depends on what your goal is. You know what I mean? Like, that's a silly way to answer that. I understand that. But let me kind of break this thing down. If you're driving for dollars in your backyard, you could do it right now, right? If you're virtually driving for dollars, you could do it through Google Maps right now. The issue is, do you understand the values? Do you understand if it's a deal or not a deal in these markets? That's the thing. It depends. It depends on what your goals are. If your goals are to do this quickly and you understand the property values in your backyard, then that's the hot market. But if you want to go and do the research and kind of do trial and error in different markets and figure it out, it usually takes 3 to 6 months to understand, is this a deal or not a deal in another market? All right. It's just because there's different nuances to every single market. Some properties in the same town and the same zip code go for way more than other ones. Well, why? Some are historic. Some are built with this building material. Some of them are master plan communities that have certain amenities to them. There's a lot of different factors that go into these things. But what I'll say is, if you want to get to a deal fast, I would go where you understand the values the most. And that would probably be your backyard. So when it comes to hot markets, the beautiful thing, Pete, is you could try out any market. You know what I mean? The hot markets, they're all hot markets. They're all hot markets. Well, San Diego's so competitive. Yeah, but you average $60,000 a deal versus, Biloxi, Mississippi, where you average $8,000 a deal. So yeah, you do 5 deals in Biloxi, but that's $40,000. You made 60 plus in San Diego. It just depends. What I would say is, don't overthink it. Start driving for dollars and calling them. All right. You're going to get a rhythm. And if you really want to test it out, pick 3 markets that you want to be in. Start driving for dollars in all of them. Call them all and test it. Test. That's the point.
Hey, Brent, so in any market like Phoenix, I know there's neighborhoods that you wouldn't drive versus neighborhoods you would drive.
Right.
Right. So you wouldn't drive a neighborhood where all of the homes are trash, right? But you probably focus on neighborhoods where the after repair value is over a certain. Is that, in any market there's hot areas, right? That you might prefer to drive for dollars, right?
It just depends on how much you want to make per deal. I suggest, great question, Mike. I suggest you go in the neighborhoods where the ARV is 150,000 and above. That's what I suggest, because you're going to get more bang for your buck. There's more room in there for you to make a really nice profit, 150 and above. All right, now, are there people making fortunes doing turnkey rental sales to these big turnkey rental companies where you find a property for $20,000, sell it to them for $30,000, they fix it up and sell it for $80,000? Absolutely. There is that strategy. I just find that you're going to get bigger deals if you're above 150. So that's what I look at. And I also consider that the same with buying rental properties. Buy rental properties in good areas with good school districts, and they're always going to be rented. They're always going to be popular, and you don't have to think about it. So that's the strategy. By the way, who has some celebration to do? I need to know. Guys, listen, this thing needs to chime. All right, this thing needs to let loose. I need to know who locked up a deal this week, who sold a deal this week, how much you made, all those things. I want to celebrate you. I want to recognize you forever and ever and ever. Believe it or not, this YouTube video will be on till the end of days. Look at Troy 502. Hey man, getting another one closed Friday. 502 home buyers, guys. If you're in 502, make sure that you're connecting with Troy here. Squad up in the sideline there, but congratulations. Look at this. There we go. Can you put up that Instagram post? I think this is hilarious. This guy, if you guys aren't following this guy and you're in wholesale, he is absolutely incredible. I love this. Oh, come on, guys. All right, we'll put it up in a second. We're having these guys. I'm telling you what, this is Charlie fart around back there. Hey, Brent, will there be an Olympic closer competition? It was incredible. Hey, I am Cam Torres, 100%. Just talked to Elijah Rubin on Monday. It's going to be in October. And it's going to be absolutely bananas. It's going to be much different this year. Not different in kind of the value, but there's going to be a lot more judges. Each judge is going to, the judges are going to have one day instead of being through the whole thing. And it's going to be absolutely incredible. The judging panel is phenomenal. I feel honored to be a part of that, but it's incredible. Yeah, there will be. So stay tuned for that. There's going to be there's going to be a lot coming down in the next couple months promoting that and giving you the instructions on where to find that. If you guys have no idea what Cam is talking about here, there's a competition. There was a competition that started last year where the top real estate closers from around the country compete with real leads, calling them live for you to watch and seeing them in action with real people closing deals over the phone, and they compete. They get a half hour each, and they do a phenomenal job. The competitors last year were incredible. My favorite was Steve Trang. Sorry, RJ. RJ crushed it, but Steve Trang I thought was just he was great. He was like in a room with nothing on the walls, and it was like a weird angle, and he had like a dangly, like free headphones, and he was just crushing. He was just crushing. Yeah. Anyway, let's put this post up now. Do we have it? This is great. This is the bell. I love this. Tal here just crushed it. Yeah, sorry. Listen, that's why I step back with this bell so I don't crush everybody's eardrums that are watching and listening to this. Well, we should start like a meme competition. Yeah, is there? Hey, listen, I'll start. Will you talk, please? Will you hit that mic? Yeah.
Guys, we're going to start a meme competition on Instagram. So create memes like this.
Yeah.
Tag us in it, and if we like it, we're showing them on the live show every week.
We're going to start a meme competition on Instagram. Everybody on there. We're going to start a meme competition. If we love it, you know what? I'll hire you. I'll pay for them. You know what I mean? It'll be great. So. We'll get crazy. Alejandra's like, crapping her pants right now. All right, awesome. Guys, remember, in 15 minutes, Ryan Thornton, my acquisition manager, is going to be coming on live here. So make sure that you have your questions. I want conversion questions. I want you to hit him with some objections, how he gets over them, how he handles those, what is the process. He's absolutely phenomenal, and you're going to get a lot of value out of him if you guys are participating and asking the questions. So it's going to be awesome. Awesome. Good. Daniel asks, how many days between redialing a seller that did not answer on the dialer? It doesn't really matter, Daniel. I like going through each list 2 to 3 times, just because after that your contact rate goes way down, and I want you constantly talking to new people. So 2 to 3 times through the list. It doesn't matter if you do that in one day. It doesn't matter if you do it in a week. That's just you're just trying to get a hold of people live. It doesn't matter if you call them the next day or the same day. So don't overthink it. Just call them. Yeah. Awesome. Good question, Daniel.
This is for your team. How do you manage everyone on your team?
Oh, Fernando, how do I manage everybody? So we've got a CRM just through Podio. I was using Investor Fuse for a long time. I highly suggest those guys. You get a coupon with TTP, but Investor Fuse, we used them, and then I had a custom, really, the Cadillac of Podio CRMs put together by our friend Rafael Cortez, who is also a Wholesaling Inc. coach. He put together a phenomenal CRM. It is not cheap, but once you get into closing a lot of deals and bringing in a lot of income, it's definitely worth the investment. If you have any, I'm trying to think of what it's called. I think he just kind of does it one-off. Just DM me on Instagram if you're interested in that, and we'll connect you with Raphael. That's just Brent Daniels _TTP. Brent Daniels _TTP. Awesome. But yeah, and Fernando, at this point, I really don't do a tremendous amount of managing. These guys know what they do. They know that they have tasks. The acquisition managers know that they have tasks that they have to complete every day. The prospectors have fresh lists that they're calling every day and texting every day. Jackie's looking through the leads and putting together the scoreboard and keeping us all organized and pointed in the right direction. And Jeremy knows what properties he has to sell and how to build the cash buyer database. So listen, you need to, when you hire people, you need to give them ownership of their roles, right? They've improved my business like way more than me just managing them could do. I give them freedom to be able to do that. A lot of that is they get to work from home. By the way, Jackie and Jeremy are married. That's why they have the same last name. But they like working from home. They like working from home completely nude all day. I'm going to just throw it out there. They're crazy. They're wild. They love it. I mean, that's how I manage people. You want to manage them? Let them stay at home naked all day, making calls and getting deals. That's how you do it. I hope they're watching. Maybe they're not. They're probably selling deals. Jeremy sold another deal. Jeremy sold another one in Phoenix for $35,000 yesterday. He's got that deal at 130 plus, 132, and he's selling another one today. He's incredible. How long could your business run without you? Could you take a trip somewhere you wouldn't have access to your phone or internet, and for how long? Yeah, I mean, I would. I wouldn't, though, Samuel. That has no interest in me. I love my business. That's like, how long can you go without seeing your kid or talking to him? You know what I mean? Like, why would I? I love it. It's not like a point of pride that you could just go and do whatever you want. Like, this is what I want to do. This is exciting. Listen, I love vacation. I love going to Hawaii. I love going to my cabin every weekend. I love hanging out with Mike and Jesse and Alejandra and Matt and Daniel and everybody, having a great time. But that's just spurts. The passion is doing deals. It's so exciting. I mean, it's so exciting seeing this all come together after all of this time and effort and love and downtimes and uptimes and kind of sleepless nights to the time when you're sleeping like a baby because you're exhausted. I mean, it's just wonderful. So, I mean, Samuel, I could literally be out of it I could retire now. Truly. They could run this whole thing without me. Yeah, I mean, truly. I mean, that's it. They have enough experience that they could do it. Why do they keep me around? One, because I'm the bank, right? Because I fund everything. and 2, because I've got expertise. That's why they keep me around. It's not to, figure out, processes and procedures and that. They do that themselves. So they would run it, but it's my child. This business is part of me. This business is exciting. This business has literally changed my life forever. I mean, it was rough, real rough. I mean, I'm talking, I remember lunch, Mike, was going to the gas station and getting those flavored almonds. You know what I mean? 2 bags of flavored almonds and a water cup that they give you for free was lunch. You know what I mean? To now, this business. I mean, where I'm at financially. So this business was that vehicle. I'm not gonna turn away from that. It's too exciting. Good question. Sold a house yesterday that I bought. Hold on, somebody here. Did you see this? Brack11 on Instagram sold a house. Bought it for $31 on June 4th. Was moving ready. Listed on the market. Sold yesterday for $74. Woo! Come on, Brack. There's some ringing for your eardrums there. There you go. How often should I get a new driving for dollars list? Well, it just depends. I mean, I always like going further out than going through a list again, because there's not a tremendous amount of change. Remember, 6 to 10% of our real estate market is in distress at all times, right? And if you're in a big market like Phoenix, we've got 1.5 million homes. That's anywhere from 75 or 80,000 to 100 and whatever. 150,000 homes that are in distress. So we just go out wide. I would rather go out wide than having to, sift through it all again and again and again. So, if you've tapped out of your market, I would virtually drive for dollars if it's too far away in the market next to you, in the city or town, next to you, and go wide instead of, doing it over and over and over and over. All right. Because there's just not tremendous amount of turnover. Even if every Brent, every wholesaler is in Phoenix. Every coach, every guru, everything is in Phoenix. How is there enough properties? There's 80,000 to 120,000, 150,000 properties in distress at all times. If I do 60 of them a year, I mean, it's not even a fraction of that. If everybody did 60 or 100 or 1,000, whatever, it's not even a fraction. It's a tiny, tiny, tiny amount. It's a what is that? Infinitesimal. As Mike says. No, it's a conveyor belt. It's literally like a non-stop conveyor belt of just imagine a conveyor belt and just, run down properties. Boop, boop, boop. It just goes by all day, every day for eternity. What'd you say? Infinitesimal?
Well, 60 is like a non, compared to 1 point, compared like 80.
Yeah. Brian, 7 months, 25K cold call. Sales skills are definitely decent. No deal yet. Any pieces of advice? How many people should we be talking to a week? How many offers should we make weekly? 1 to 2 deals. Brian, you put in there we. Are you making the calls, or did you hire people to make the calls for you? All right, because if you've made the calls, I'd like you to send me a recording of your calls that you've made at Brent at Wholesaling Inc., and I'll break it down on a YouTube video because I want to hear them. I want to get a feel for what it's like. But if it's somebody else making the calls for you, that's average result. I mean, that's normal. It's going to take a lot more calls than that. If you're hiring somebody at $4 or $5 an hour, if you're making all those calls, I'd love to hear your recordings and tweak that and help clean that up. But you should have a nice pipeline of leads. And if you have a decent amount of leads, those will pop and those will close. It's just shortening the timeline and getting those closed. So a couple different things. One, go ahead, Jesse.
Also, could it be an issue with who he's calling, which list he's calling?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it could be the list, but I assume Brian's done his research. He's probably pulled the list. He's probably been on this YouTube channel and other ones and pulled a decent list. I mean, if you're not getting the results that you want, switch up your lists. Start getting, definitely add in your driving for dollars if you're not getting it from just pulling it from PropStream. That's ttpdata.com. That's the #1 tool that real estate investors use, ttpdata.com. If you're pulling it from there and calling and not getting the traction that you want, it just depends. If you're making the calls, it might be the way that you're approaching it. If somebody else is making the calls, it might just be maybe there's a connection issue, or maybe there's just like they're just not getting past the first 5-10 seconds of the conversation because people are shutting them down. Because people have abused it. People have abused and taught to go out and get 20, 25 cold callers at $4 an hour and just do volume. And it has trained the property owners that are on the list that we go after to hang up quickly. So you have to sound different. You have to be different. You have to be unique. And that happens with your tone of voice and with the scripting that you're using when you're making those calls. But I love that you've stuck to it. 7 months, 25,000 cold calls. If you're making the calls, send me a recording. If not, I would highly suggest that you get in there and make those calls and get it. How many offers do you make a week? It just depends on if you're doing verbally, if you're sending them. Typically, if we're hitting them up verbally, we're going to be making, anywhere from 10 to 20 verbal offers a day. So about 100 a week, and we do a deal a week. That's in Phoenix. But there's a 90-day timeline. From the first time that we talk to them to the time that we get paid is typically 90 days.
Have them send it to support.
Yeah. Actually, send the email to support@talktopeople.com. Support@talktopeople.com. Awesome. Daniel, can you advise on having faith mindset on spending money on marketing and how you look at it when you start? I have funds to spend but nervous on spending. I love it, Daniel. You should be nervous because you shouldn't spend it. How about that? How about you? Hey, listen, I am telling you, for under $1,000, you can get this whole thing running, brother. Dealmachine app, start driving for dollars, batchskiptracing.com, export those lists, put it in batchskiptracing.com, get the batch dialer, put them into the dialer and start calling. That's going to cost you, let's say you pull 2,000 addresses. You start going after 2,000 addresses. You build your driving for dollars list up, and you pull some lists from PropStream. You got 2,000 addresses that you're going after. It's going to cost you, 15 cents skip trace with the TTP code on batch skip tracing. So that'll cost you $300 to get that list. No, yeah, 150 per 1,000. Yes. $300. It's going to cost you $100 for the dialer. It's going to cost you $50 for Dealmachine, $97 for PropStream. So I mean, you're well under 1,000. You're making the calls, and you're starting to build the traction there, brother. You're starting to build the traction. I wouldn't just be like, hey, I'm going to spend $2,000 on this website. I'm going to spend $2,000 on direct mail. It's brutal, man. I'm telling you, the average cost per deal for marketing is just, in major markets, it's over $10,000. It's just a fact. So get after it. Keep your money. I would rather you put in the effort than spend the money. One, it's going to create great habits. And two, you're going to feel a lot better with those deals that you're making. All right. Good question. Is Ryan here? Ryan's here. All right. Hey. You got a whistle from Mike. This is great.
I love it.
So everybody, this is Ryan Thornton. Come up here. You get that mic. I'll get this one.
Okay. Yeah.
We're going to get questions on the screen here. I did a breakdown of the business. If you'll pull that up, this is what I opened up this conversation with. All right. The whole breakdown of the business.
Okay.
Where everybody's at. Okay. How you are the lead acquisition manager. So we're going to get questions. People are going to ask you questions about overcoming objections.
I love it.
About some of those things. So
yeah.
Matt, if you'll put us back on. Before we get started, you guys all saw the picture of Ryan as a super athlete. He was the punt returner. He was the kick returner. He was a cornerback. He was the speedy, most athletic guy on the team. And then he turned into this.
Really?
After-
Really? That's what we're going to do here?
After his college football career as a super athlete, he turned into a super
Hey,
cheerleader.
cheering is hard.
Yeah.
I was not humbled in sports until
Yeah.
I did a year of cheerleading.
Yeah,
Those
that's
guys and girls are tough.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. That's it. So, guys, load us up. Load Ryan and I up with whatever objections that you're running across. Any questions that you have? Maybe his schedule. Maybe what he does. Maybe what he does dealing with kids being at home and following up. All these things, all these normal things that we go through in this business. Make sure that you ask, and we'll rock out. We've got some people on Instagram there too. Say hello. There you go. And let's get rolling. What do we got?
So this is about cold calling, but Ryan could talk about just doing follow-up.
Okay. All right. Dave asked, what is the best time of day to cold call, and what days do you get the best response? Dave, the answer is when you can be consistent. So I knew that if I didn't do it in the mornings, it wouldn't get done. The responsibilities of my life, just the way that my body worked, the way that my energy worked, it was good at 9 o'clock to noon, and that's when I make my calls. You got to feel it yourself. Luke Rotfold, the country's best cold caller, phenomenal YouTube channel at Viking Boys. He's literally calling live. He goes in the afternoons. He likes going to the gym. He likes hitting his protein shake. He likes, getting swole. He likes wearing a tank top. And then he starts making calls at 1 o'clock. So when do you typically find you're catching the most people on lead follow-up?
After work.
Okay.
So I'll do all my cold calling in the morning. I'm same with Brent. I like to get going and kind of get the juices flowing, and then I just kind of continue throughout the day. But I'll dial someone 2 to 3 times after that 5 p.m. point, and that's when they're either on their way home, right? And they're in the car and they're like whatever. But after work is usually when I've experienced getting the most response.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. That's really smart. So after 5?
After 5 essentially is when, you think about a 9 to 5 job, and obviously everybody's working from home too, but that's when they're kind of shutting down.
Yep.
And then they're going to answer the phone. That's why I dial multiple times too.
Now, are you finding the people that we're closing these deals with have jobs and are working and doing things? Are they flexible? Are they at home? Like, what are you seeing there?
It's kind of 50-50.
Right.
So a lot of people are working from home nowadays, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're dealing with like kind of an older population as well. So a lot of people are retired. You have people with some of those investment properties who do have jobs. So it's really kind of a toss up. But I typically like to, get a lot of my like cold calling stuff at the end of the day.
Love it. How many people are tired landlords versus they actually live in the property?
Quite a few.
All of them. I mean, a lot. I mean, mostly, right?
Yeah, mostly.
I mean, most of the deals that we do are not owner occupied.
Yeah, a lot of times, especially with the market that we're having right now, they're like, you know what? I'm just tired of being a landlord. I'm tired of trying to find good tenants. I'm looking at the market and I want to get as much as I can right now, so this is why I'm selling.
Yep. Yeah. Awesome. So that's just something to consider, guys. All of these properties that have been in rough shape for so long, a lot of these property owners, a lot of these landlords are open to an offer because they're like, oh, I'm never going to get more for this property than right now, so I got to take advantage of that.
Right. Absolutely.
And we really push values on it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Good question, Dave. Jose. Ryan, here we go.
I've been talking to a tired landlord who wants $240K. I need to be around $215, but he won't budge from his price. What can I do? I love that.
Okay.
I love that. Okay, so the first thing that I look at is, can I get in front of him?
Yep.
Because, we're doing a lot of virtual deals, and I get that as far as efficiency, but if I can get in front of a person, I'm going to do that because that's where you build the most rapport. That's where you kind of get a real keen idea of what their pain points are. And then that's where you kind of start the negotiation. And you hear like you want to hear no, and so if you can get in front of them, you build that rapport, and you set that anchor. You go, hey, I really need to be, my warm and fuzzy, you hear people say is around 190, 190. That's reasonable, right? I'm just kidding.
I'm just kidding.
Well, how close can you get to that?
Right.
How close can you get to that? And then that's kind of that gets them from that 240. And then if they're a serious seller, they're going to try to work with you.
Yep.
But it's at the same time where you're like, you know what, I want to help you out, and this is how I'm going to be able to help you out. Can we kind of work it out with each other?
Right.
Yeah. So get in front of them. That's the biggest thing. Trying to negotiate over the phone is something people do, and you have to do it. I get it, but being able to look somebody in their face and know that, hey, you know, I'm trying to be genuine. I'm trying to be here for you. Is so much better than, you know, talking and just hearing a voice.
Well, and a lot of times, and also Jose, when you are looking at that 240, you got to see, okay, what's going on in the market? Are things going bananas? Is that 215 really? Could it be 230? Could it be 232? You know, can you meet somewhere in the middle there and still make a profit, which we do on a lot of these, where it's like, hey, they want like, you know, 370, and you know, there's other ones selling at like 415. I'm like, lock it up, lock it up and sell it, because the supply and demand in the area allows us to be able to do that. So if you're trying to negotiate, get in front of them and see why they want that 240 and what it really means.
And also, with a lot of the people in the market right now, it's pretty saturated. You want to be able to, I mean, you just again, you want to be able to get in front of them and pull the trigger. You know, you see the ARV, and maybe you're a little slim as far as what you can do, but with the market right now, sometimes just pull the trigger and just do what you can.
Yep. Awesome. Good question, Jose.
Good question.
Seller, what is your offer? Okay, so this is
Okay. I get it. What is your offer? Well, I'd like to offer you what the house qualifies for. What can you tell me about it? You know, I assume, you know, and I hate assuming, but I'd like to think that you've done your own kind of research. You know, what are houses, you know, selling for in the area?
Love it.
So a lot of times you just want to ask those open-ended questions to them and let them talk. And a lot of times, once you get them talking, you kind of find a way around to find out what they're actually looking for.
Yeah.
What do you want? What do you want to walk away with?
Or do they actually want to sell?
Or do they actually want to sell?
Most of the time, people are going to throw that at you because they just want to see what they want you to throw out something ridiculous. They don't really want to sell.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to get, what is the condition? Do you typically go condition to qualify, like, tell me about the property, what remodeling have you done, that type of thing?
Yeah,
or?
that's pretty much the first question that I ask when they get to me. But I know, you know, we get some training, right? And one of the guys that we talk to, Mark, he's like, you know, I don't make offers, I buy houses.
Right.
You know, and so I'll get that in there when I kind of have that rapport already. But that's not our job. Our job isn't really to make offers. Our job is to purchase a house at a price that, you know, it qualifies for, and kind of help out a person who's really wanting to sell.
Yep. Love it. Yeah. Love it. Good question. But Ty, that is a pre-qualifying question to see if they actually want to sell. All right. If they don't, if they're just trying to get a free comparable out of you, or appraisal or evaluation, or they're just wondering, or a lot of people just say that to be sassy because they've got a ton of calls. Well, what's your offer? What's your offer? They're trying to throw it back at you for interrupting their day. So when you ask them an open-ended, if they go, never mind, I don't care, I was just wondering, you know, then move on. Don't take that. Don't get discouraged by that. Just move on. They're not ready right now. If they're on your list, they are going to have to sell for some reason, unless the property's been remodeled. They're going to have to sell as is to a cash buyer at some point. So just move through those, filter through those fast.
Right.
Awesome. Why does it take 90 days for a deal to close? Isn't speed to close of essence? Yeah, Pete, the question there is, when you first call somebody, if it's a cold call or a cold text, you're kind of catching them before they've made that decision. So there's a time there where you're following up. Ryan's following up with that lead, following up until they're ready to make that. Well, actually, Chad is. By the time Chad gets through, he gets it to you. That's really what Chad's job, the junior acquisition manager's job is to shorten the timeline, and then when the timeline's ready, it gives it over to Ryan, and Ryan closes it. But it takes time. Usually you're catching people. When people are calling you for marketing, they're ready to make a decision. They've already made the decision that they're going to sell. We're catching people before that time, so it takes a little bit longer. So marketing, without a doubt, with internet leads, with direct mail leads, with referrals, whatever it is, those people are ready to go right now. That timeline's more like 30, 35 days. But when you're catching them and being proactive, it's going to be 90 days on average.
And I'll push on this point as far as closing the timeline is so severely important right now in the market that we're dealing with. And so those leads that Chad is kind of working, if he thinks they're even remotely close, 2-3 months, send them to me, because I want to see if we can close that. Hey, if we were able to get you here,
right,
how fast can we close this deal for you? How fast can we get this done?
Right.
And so asking that question is really important.
Yeah. I love it. And is that how you approach? Go ahead, Mike.
So I just want to clarify. So if A is the first time you talk to them, and B is when you close the deal, on average it's 90 days. Most of the time in between is lead follow-up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, most of it's lead follow-up. I mean, typically we'll close a deal in 30 days. We could close it in a couple days, but usually it's 30 days to give people enough time to get organized to move out.
Yeah.
But what we've been doing a lot is post-possession.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, post-possession.
Explain what a post-possession is in your world.
So,
I mean,
So post-possession is someone who obviously want to sell your house, but they're worried about finding that next place.
Yep.
Right. And so they need money in order to do that. And especially somebody who's trying to take advantage of being able to, sell their house at top value now. We close a deal, and amongst the details of that deal is, okay, we're going to close on, July 15th. But you have post-possession after the close. You get the money in your account. You get to stay in the house for X amount of days, whatever you agree upon, whatever makes sense for your team, and then they get that time. They have the money to find a place and kind of get their stuff going.
yeah, because if you close the deal, buyers now, just depending on the market, are trained to understand that there's going to be a couple weeks to 30 days before they can start getting in there and repairing these properties and going through, you know what I mean? So they're they understand the process that if you lock up this deal right now, you're going to get a great deal, and because the market's so hot, they're okay with it because 30 days from now that property could be worth $5-10 grand more.
Right. Absolutely.
So they're fine with it from a financial side. It makes sense. Now, it's not always going to be that way, but for right now, because of the lack of inventory, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. 26 million houses are built every decade from the 70s to 2010, and then from 2010 to 2020, only 6 million were built. And so there's a 20 million house less that have been built, and there's 30 million more people in the United States. So it's crazy.
That is crazy.
Good. What is a decent amount of leads? Ooh.
How many leads do you guys have kind of in your pipeline at any given time?
Oh, too many. So efficiency is a really, really great word when it comes to dealing with leads, because you can have a ton of leads, but are they leads that are close enough to to get your time?
Right.
And so I typically in my pipeline I'll probably have 10 to 15 that are, hey, if I really push this,
Hot leads.
If I follow up the way that I should be following up, that I can get it close. But then you have those colds that, I still, they're in my task list. I still want to get to them. I still want to keep that kind of connection. So I'll put time into that as well. But it's really just about being efficient with your day and making sure that you're putting the most time into those leads that are going to get you a deal.
How many leads do you think Chad's fallen up with?
A lot. Chad's amazing. That kid is like a text dialing machine.
Yeah. He makes it just for perspective. He'll make 50 to 60 outbound calls a day. All he does is lead follow up, warming them up to push over to Ryan when they're, like he said, in that 90-day bubble, and Ryan can get in front of them and start, shortening that timeline. But to answer your question, Juan, I mean, if you have 20 really good, I would rather you have 20 quality leads than 200 or 2,000 leads, right? I mean, in our database, we've got probably 10,000 leads that we've had throughout the years, and about 1,100 of those we're following up with. And it trickles down to where Ryan has 15 of those that are in front of him right now to get it done. Because the problem is, if you don't have a small amount of leads to go after, you get lost.
Yeah.
You get lost, and there's too many tasks, and then there's inefficiencies, and it's just not, it just doesn't go smooth, and you can't close on the deals that are right in front of you and the people that really need the help.
So I'll look at it like this as far as efficiency goes. When I have those leads in front of me, I go, okay, who have I already met with, and who can I meet with?
Yeah.
Who's going to allow me to come and see the house and get in front of them and build up that rapport? And so those are the ones that I'm really focused on.
Awesome. Alejandro, can you get a picture of Ryan and I? This is awesome. This is pumping me up.
It's good.
DL, listen, 6 to 10% of the real estate market is in distress. So, I mean, this is our biggest year that we've ever had. So, I don't know. I mean, I think that's a mindset thing, brother. I really do. I think that is just that's just you're coming from a place of scarcity and not of abundance. There it is. And I think that there's plenty of deals. There's more deals than there are real estate investors. Or there wouldn't be properties that foreclose. There wouldn't be people that lose their properties to tax default. There wouldn't be what was it last week, Mike? $14 billion.
Like 11 million, vacant.
Yeah, there's 11 million vacant properties that have been vacant for over a year. DL, you have got a huge runway. Just go after it. Yep. Oh, here we go.
It's tough. I'm honest. I'm always honest.
Yep.
And if I'll always even bring it up, be like, hey, was Chad able or if
ask the question so that Instagram hears it.
Oh, so the objection? No, I want to put it on the market.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll bring it up if they don't. Like, hey, so this is what I do. Do you understand what I do? Hey, have you looked at listing it? A lot of times you are going to get more money if you list it.
Yep.
And I'll be up front. Have you, do you know anything about that? And they'll say, well, I think I do want to put it on the market, but it's more merely just getting an idea of why.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it is because they're going to get more money. And so I just want to make sure that they understand the differences, the pros and cons of both. Doing it cash as is, putting it on the market, you're going to list it, you're going to get with a real estate agent, you're going to have to fix some things up, you're going to have to pay that closing and that commission fee, so it's just putting, apples to oranges together and making sure that they get it. And sometimes if they're really intent on putting it on the market, then that's just one you kind of have to cut aside.
Blake, let me give you the filter. If it's in good shape, they should put it on the market. If it's in rough shape, they're going to get the same amount from a cash as is offer than they will from putting it on the market typically. So one, you got to understand, what is the condition of the property? If you say, what remodeling have you done to the kitchen and bathrooms? And they're like, oh, I've got this beautiful Italian quartz on the countertops, and I just did new bamboo cabinets mixed with maple. They made a maple bamboo baby, and they made cabinet. No, I don't know.
Maple.
But well, whatever. And it's got the new black stainless steel appliances, and it's all great. Put it on the market. Great. If they're like, I've rented it since 1972. I haven't done anything to it, but I'm going to just throw it on the market. Okay, great. Well, if I can get you the same amount that you would make putting it on the market, would you consider an offer from me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or who have you talked to? What real estate agent are you going to work with? Oh, I haven't decided that yet. Okay, then the door's cracked a little bit. We've got a cracked door, and you're like, okay, so they're not down that line that far. What's going on with the timeline? What is their true motivation?
Timeline.
Right? Yeah.
How fast are you really wanting to sell your property? And
right.
Then it's 30 to 45 days to close.
Yep.
Is time of the essence for you, and we can close that gap.
Yep.
And if they really are going to put it on the market, we partner with real estate agents here, and you do referrals.
Yep.
And you're not going to get a huge payoff as far as that goes, but you get a little something, and you build that kind of network.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you could do that because I'm licensed, but you have to be licensed to be able to get that. But if you're licensed, go for that, or have somebody on your team that is.
Yeah.
Cool. Great objection. Who's got some more objections? Come on. And by the way, don't sleep. If you're just joining us, don't sleep on putting in the successful deals that you have closed or that you locked up or something. We still got to ring this bell. I mean, we've got 2 hours here. We've ring it twice. Let's bring it. Let's pump this up a little bit. Let's bring this energy to it. All right. James asks, how do you approach a seller who's in the middle of renovated and slightly motivated, thinking they can fix it up themselves instead? Is this a lack of motivation?
I wouldn't say it's a lack of motivation. I just think they're kind of just putting different cards in the hat to and kind of see what happens. They're leaving the possibilities open. So I mean, that's just asking those qualifying questions. It's like, all right, well, I mean, how much time and effort and money are you going to put into it, and what do you expect to gain from putting that into it? So ask those questions to kind of see where their motivation, because one way or another, they're typically leaning to one side or the other. They've already kind of done their research if they're already looking into fixing it up and buying material and all of those things. And you basically, okay, well, if you do the floors, what do you think you're gonna gain? So ask questions, and at the end of it, you can really get an idea of whether or not he's leaning in your direction or the other.
I always like just assuming they know what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
Listen, Bob, you know what you're doing. You know that you can make money on this flip. Let me ask you, what price in your mind, if you got that, you would just leave this as it is, and it would make sense that you can make a nice profit from this purchase, but you don't have to go through the rest of the work and have to button this whole property up? What price makes sense to you? And then pull that price from them. If they say 210 and you know that you could sell it for 230, great. If they say 210 and ARV is 230, it's a little bit rougher. They're not realistic, especially when you look at the tax records and they bought it for 80,000 or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just see how far along they are with it, and just assume that they know. You can't play the game of, well, the advantage of me coming in and doing this. Don't worry about that. Just go. They already know what's the number. Hit them straight between the eyes. What's the number that makes sense? And if it makes sense to you, go for it. If not, move on. Yep. Remember, the trash can is important.
Right.
Getting rid of leads is important. Get those fresh ones in. Oh, Nick, come on. This is a TTP family guy. You want to ring that for him?
I do want to ring that. Oh, that is loud.
Show him that Instagram post.
I saw
again.
it. I was watching it.
Okay. Over 85K closed in the last 30 days. Just hired a caller from Call Motivated Sellers. I love it. That's it. That's the blueprint. Now he's hiring.
Yeah.
He's got that 85. He's in and he's rocking. Nick has been
Pounding
doing
the
amazing
pavement.
things.
I love it.
Yep. He's been doing it. So, Semcon. Old lady wants to get into retirement home, can only offer her 100K. Family has no money. She has no retirement fund. How do I help her?
Well, I mean, you have to look at the moral aspect of it, right? Obviously, you want to get it for as low as makes sense, as low as possible. But at the same time, you kind of have to just look at your value, your moral value, and you take the steps in the right direction. I think you'll figure it out as you go. But that's a tough situation for sure. You do what you can, and anything beyond that, you let go.
I think it just depends on what it's worth. All right, so you got 100,000. You can offer 100,000 if that's what the property's worth, then that's what it's worth. The family has no money and has no retirement fund. How long can that retirement? How long can she stay in there? Does she owe on that property? Is that $100,000 that she could put towards her retirement home? You know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot of different factors that play into there. Is she getting Social Security? Is she getting certain help? Does she have any other kind of benefits coming in? It just depends. But if she can't take care of her house, the property is only going to go down in value if she's not able to do it. So I think you got to look at the motivation on this and just do what's morally right. If you can't, if she can get more money by putting it on the market, tell her to put it on the market. If 100,000 is the most that she's going to get as is, then that's what she's going to get as is.
Yeah.
Yep. And keep getting, go after it. All right. Closing my first deal on July 6th for $7K just by driving for dollars, 2 minutes from my house. My backyard is such an untapped market. 6 months of 1,000 no's and consistency.
I love it.
Come on.
That's another bell.
Come on, Kai.
No.
Sorry. I'm not here often. There we go. That's incredible. Look at that. Guys, listen, this is real life. This is not Alejandra in a hoodie just posting these comments to our YouTube channel to make everybody feel warm and fuzzy inside. These are this is real. Sturdy Kai is out there driving for dollars in his backyard, making $7K, closing July 6th, and that's just the beginning. Yeah. Once you cross that bridge from faith to fact, knowing that you can do this, once you get your diploma of closing your first deal and getting that check is your diploma. Woo! Now you're off and running.
Think of the experience.
Yeah.
The 6 months of objection.
Yep.
And that's the hardest thing to deal with is someone telling you no, someone in your face, and maybe they're not nice, but you deal with that enough, you get used to it, and you're like, oh, I love it. This is what I want because I thrive. I thrive on that.
Well, you got that a lot, in your former profession.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Awesome. Michael, great question. Same thing, for door knocking, just go out there. The same approach is the same with the TTP script. You can get that at ttpinsider.com if you can scroll that. TTP Insider, guys, we have an unbelievable amount of resources in the toolbox. Absolutely for free. Just get in there, TTP Insider, and just don't overthink it. When you're at the door, you just, I know that this is random, but I'm looking to buy a home in the neighborhood, wanted to see if you would consider an offer on your property here. Now, what I will say is most of the deals every single deal that I ever got from door knocking, it was either a tenant or one of the neighbors that knew something about a vacant property. So not very often when you knock on the door and you talk to the property owner, are they ready to sell? In my experience, it could be different around the country, but what you're looking for is those tenants. Typically it's a tenant, or typically it's somebody taking care. So what I like doing, if you want to switch it up a little bit, Michael, and you know that a property looks rough, I like going to the 2 neighbors next to it and the 3 across the street, knocking on the door and seeing if you can get the scoop. Hey, listen, I know this is kind of random, but I'm a real estate investor. I'd love to get in contact with the owner of the property over there, do something special with that property. Do you know what's going on with it? Do you have a line on how I can communicate with that property owner? And that's where you're going to get a lot of you're going to do a lot of the best leads are going to come from that.
You'll be amazed how forthcoming people, like neighbors, will be with information, because if it's a house that's dilapidated and needs work, they want that house to be in better shape because it adds a property value and the neighborhood looks nice. And so, don't hesitate to talk to neighbors.
Yeah, for sure. 11 million vacant houses.
11 million.
Isn't that crazy? That's the 2020 census. You Google it. 11 million over a year. There's like 16 million that are like another 5 million that are vacant just under a year. Isaiah, have a lead in San Diego I've been working on since November. Sellers being difficult and being adamant about having offers higher than before. I know he's playing games. What would you do with this lead?
Have you gotten in front of him yet? That's the first thing. That's the first thing. Can I get in front of this gentleman and kind of get to the nitty gritty of what's going on? And you're going to get that.
When somebody doesn't want you to come by, what does that tell you?
That tells me, one, they're not serious about selling their home.
Right.
They're just kind of fishing for offers.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a big qualifier. If they're willing to have you come over and see the property, one, they're getting closer to making that decision, and two, they're serious. They're serious about selling. So Isaiah, what I would say is, if you're get in front of them, have those conversations. Now, let's say Isaiah's been in front of them. Let's say that he's already given an offer. Say the seller's like, well, you know what? I don't want to sell now. It's November. I want to wait till after the year. I don't know what's going on with this pandemic, and I don't want to move during Christmas. So then he starts following up in January and February and March, and this guy's like, well, the market's going crazy. It's absolutely bananas. What will you offer me now? What would you do?
Well, I'd see what their timeline is.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, we've been talking for X amount of months, and I mean, are you wanting to close in the next, 30 days? Are you wanting to kind of get a whole bunch of offers and then decide in the fall? So kind of narrow down or get an idea of what that timeline is, and that's going to give you an idea of, one, what the offer should be, and then also if they're serious.
Yep.
Yeah.
By the way, I put the cheerleader photo on. I almost did Edward Fortyhands.
Oh.
In college, we played a game called Edward Fortyhands. Look it up. There we go. Ryan was terrible at it. He
terrible's relative.
He cheated.
His
hands got too cold. All right.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
What did they were warm after a while because I didn't drink them.
I know. All right. Eric, what is your response when the seller asks you, why my home? Why are you? Well, that's more of a cold call, Eric. So first of all, when you're calling in, why my home? We're interested in properties in this area.
Yeah.
That's it. We're interested in doing, it just depends on the strategy, but we're interested in doing tasteful remodels. We're interested in buying investment property in this area. We're invested in this neighborhood. We're interested in seeing if you would consider an offer on your property. So answer their question, then ask a question.
Yeah.
We're interested in this area. This is where our partners like to do a lot of business. This is where our buyers like to do business. Have you thought about selling the property, and when would you sell it? You know what I mean? Just asking the questions and seeing what's going on there, and start picking away at the condition, timeline, motivation, price, the pre-qual.
Yep.
why? Have you been getting a lot of offers on it? Have a lot of people been reaching out? Yeah, that's why. Well, I totally understand. It can kind of be annoying, but just to let you know, we do business in the area. We love this area. Can you just tell me, just so that we're not wasting time, have you done a lot of remodeling to the property in the last 5 years? And if so, what have you done? And then now you're back in the driver's seat of asking the questions. So, good question. Daniel, how do you handle a seller that is motivated but wants multiple wholesalers that's been calling in probate to meet and put in offers? It's a good question.
Yeah, it's a great question. So I'm basically, I'm seeing that the question is you have other people that you're competing with.
They want multiple offers.
Okay, yeah, sure. So especially in this market, you're getting that a lot. So you ask the qualifying questions and you just say, hey, I would love to be your best offer.
Yep.
And then you narrow down that timeline. Hey, if I were to be able to do X, Y, and Z, are you wanting or willing to put something together with me right now? And if they say yes, then awesome. Okay, let's put it together. If they're like, well, no, I'm not. I'm going to get this and this, and then that's when the follow up is really important, because you don't want to throw out your offer because they're just gonna bid it
Leverage
against other offers, and hey, I want to be your best offer. I'm going to keep following up with you. I'm going to have my guys work on something, the offer that qualifies for the property, and then you just follow up. Hey, how you doing? What's been going on? Any progress with the house? What offers have you gotten? And a lot of people, they don't want to tell you, but you ask it. Hey, what offers have you gotten? Oh, okay, all right. Are you any closer to wanting to put something together? Well, no. And then you just keep following up.
Yep.
Yeah, but I don't like throwing offers out when I know their timeline is extended a little bit more, because all you're doing is you're putting your number down on paper and they're going, oh, well, this guy can do this, and then now if you go up on that offer, why didn't you give me that the first time?
Yep.
So I try to avoid putting out my offer until the very last minute.
And listen, probate, it's right there. It's in parentheses.
Yeah.
The court is dictating when this is going to happen. So they're just loading up with offers during this probate. They're not ready. It's like perfect. The probate is like a chain link fence. And on the other side is all the zombies from like Walking Dead, right? Yeah. And they got to stand back there, and all the zombies are pounding, and that's wholesalers giving them offers, right? And the probate's just holding them back. When the probate's done, that's when you want to start getting serious and get in front of them as soon as you can, but really get in front of them as they're getting closer to that decision, and seeing if you can get an idea of what the other competing offers are, and then going in and saying, hey, listen, I might not be your highest offer, but I know that I can get this done. People could offer you, because you're having a bunch of, I'm sure you understand this, Mr. Seller, but you're having a bunch of offers coming in. People are going to compete, and they might overpromise what they can actually do on this property. I'm going to shoot you straight, and I'm going to tell you exactly what we can do, and we're going to get this thing done. If somebody comes in way above that, listen, I want you to make as much as you can on this property. But what I've seen is people will lock it up for whatever price that they can, and then they start beating you up day after day after day after day, and then until finally they can't perform and it gets real ugly. If you want to avoid all that and make it smooth, you can look, you can see what my business has done, you can talk to the title companies, you can look and get references or whatever else. We get these deals done. Now, if you don't have that, obviously don't throw that out. But
that's why rapport is super important in this, and being an expert in the field, right? So, you get in front of them, and then continue to be in front of them, continue to be in contact, because you want them to believe you.
Yep.
I want to be transparent, and you want them to believe that you're going to be that guy. So,
yep,
for sure.
Love it. Good question.
Sure.
Jay McPherson, what are you guys doing with dead leads? Now we're getting to it. I love it. I have a lot of leads that eventually stop answering acquisitions. What are you guys doing with leads who are dead inside your CRM?
Well, we have Darian now.
Yep.
So Darian will
you pop up that org chart again?
Yeah, he will call our super cold leads.
That guy in top there with the beard and
yes.
the hair. Darian is going through all of our dead leads, and he is reviving them. So this is not time. This is back to the phone prospector. This is back to the $20 an hour guys, not the guys that are converting taking the leads that we're working right now. So I want to take that off of the acquisition, put it back onto the phone prospector, let them warm it up, and it's been phenomenal.
Yeah,
it's been great.
Obviously, a lot of people who are doing this aren't going to have the Darians, aren't going to have the people. So, I mean, you put the time into it. You never know what's going to be, what's going to be valid now and wasn't a year ago. So it's just the amount of time you're putting into it, and you just keep hitting those buttons.
Jeremy tell you he sold the Maryville deal?
Yeah.
What did we make, 35?
I thought it was a little closer in the high 30s, but it could have been 35.
38?
I thought it was 30.
Alejandro has my phone. Yeah. When did you lock that up?
I can't.
35.
What, is it 35?
Yeah, okay.
I honestly, I can't even picture what house it is. Maryville? I'm like,
Okay.
I've been to so
If
many
I told
houses.
you the owner name, you
Yeah,
would know.
yeah, I would
Okay.
know. All right.
What do you do when a seller ghosts you after sending them a contract?
Go to their house. I mean, just try to get in front of them.
What if they're virtual? What do you think? Like if it was somebody in Flagstaff or something, what
Yeah.
would we do?
I mean, your best bet is just to continue calling.
Okay.
Yeah. Or you
Send
send
me.
your guy up there to
Send the
door
big
knock.
guns.
I always, I tell Chad or junior acquisition manager to get as many points of contact as you can.
Yeah.
The phone number, obviously, email address. Hey, is there anybody else on here that we can maybe
should
get in contact with, and just find everything you can, and then you just call. Hey, in however you want to verbalize it, but yeah, just keep calling, texting, email. Yeah, just stay on it.
Yeah.
Because typically you send it, but yeah, go to the door, because you send a contract and people are just wanting something in writing, and now they're going to go to that next person to say, hey, well, I got this. That's why, I mean, virtual, I get it. You got to do it, but I try to avoid virtual deals if possible.
You like signing them right with them.
Right in front of me, because it's done, and then I have it, and then I get to go away with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how he does
I
it.
was like, thank you.
That was his touchdown dance in college too.
It was. What
And
this?
and his cheer dance. Oh, that's it. He's doing it. All right. Do you recommend calling Sundays? We don't. From prospecting wise, do you do on lead follow-up?
I don't, unless I've had a conversation with someone and I go, hey, when's the best time to contact you?
Right.
Sunday, and then I'll do that. But I try to avoid that.
Yeah, or if they need somebody to stop by or whatever else.
Yeah.
If that's the only day, then okay. But it just depends. Listen, AR 1388. If that's your only time to be able to generate leads, then do it.
Do it.
If you've got a crazy schedule and that's it, then go for it. You know what I mean? But I think that once you get to the point where you can do a lot of the work during the week, you can have a day. Right? You can have a day where you, kind of turn it off or focus on something else.
And you could just say, hey, I'm so sorry to call you on a Sunday. This is when I thought I might be able to get a hold of you. Is it a bad time?
Right.
And then, they tell you yes or no. Or, oh, okay, what's a better time to call? And then you kind of go from there.
Yep. Awesome. Freddie, how do you respond to a seller that says they want a firm number or they are wanting way over the Zillow estimate?
They want a firm number, or they want over market price?
I think they just want over Zillow.
Okay. I'll ask them, what got them to that price?
What's the condition? That's first of all, Freddie. So first of all, if the condition is rough and they haven't renovated the property, I would take Ryan's advice and get in front of them. Because maybe they're throwing out a number because they are uncomfortable talking about it, or it's something that they saw and that's their expectation and they don't really know why they want that. And getting in front of them and having the conversation, you can see what it's about. But if the property is in good shape and they want Zillow or over, move on.
Yeah.
Move on. Remember, we are deal finders. We are not deal creators. Okay? This is so critical. I think we try to squeeze because we have a good conversation with somebody. We're like, I'm going to create this deal from this wonderful, nice person that was nice to me. And it doesn't work out. I'm telling you, there's better options for them. If there's better options for them to put it on the market and make more money, let them put it on the market and make more money. If we are their best option, then that's what you want to, those are the people that you want to keep in your world and follow up with. And that usually comes down to the condition.
Yeah, I still have a problem with that. I'll talk to somebody who's nice because I talk to so many people who aren't nice. Like, oh, you want over market value? Okay, well, let's see what we can do. And it never works out.
No.
But it's a great conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a change of pace. Holger asks, how often are you making offers? So there's a couple parts to this. Okay, so first of all, the phone prospectors are able to kind of throw out some prices a little bit, and they'll only do it if it's a property that's in rough condition, and they pull up Zillow and they're kind of getting an idea. They'll ask them their price. They'll ask them their price. They'll ask them their price. They'll ask them price. If not, they might throw something out to see if it's close, or they're getting a number out of them off the bat. Those are always the best deals. So the best deals, the seller is almost offering to us, right? They're saying at this price, I will sell it, and it makes sense. So that, now it gets filtered to Ryan, and Ryan's like, yes, I'm on it. And by the way, when I say filter, that could be 30 seconds of Jackie looking at it, right, and getting it over. But how often are you making offers on every property that's rough? Unless somebody wants way over value on the property, we can hit them with, well, this isn't going to work. We'd be closer to, 180. You want $1.5 million. It's just not close enough, right? So just move on.
Yeah.
But make offers all day.
All day.
Yeah.
This is kind of follow up to that.
Little pump.
When to follow up with rejected offers.
Yep.
Well, when to follow up?
Yeah.
Do you want? Yeah. I mean, whenever you're in negotiations, the first thing you want to hear is no, right? You set that anchor just to kind of fill out what they're looking for,
Yeah.
and they say no, I can't possibly do that price, and then you ask that follow-up question. Well, how close can you get? Mm-hmm. So you want rejected offers because that's when the game starts. That's when, okay, well, what can I do that's comfortable for us, and what can we do for you that's comfortable for you? And so that's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah.
Follow up. Yeah.
And listen, when it's a rejected offer, you have to understand, is it rejected because they accepted somebody else's offer? That's a different thing. You could follow up and just say, hey, how's that buyer treating you? Everything feel good? If anything gets wiggly, if you're feeling like it's getting shaky, let me know. I'd love to give you a backup offer on it or work with you if it doesn't work out with that buyer. But, if you throw out something and they're not even close, we just move on, and we'll put them into our dead, and then our phone prospector will swoop it up. Darian will swoop it up later.
I'll usually put in the task list like
Yeah.
2 weeks out.
Yeah.
Make sure it closed.
Yeah.
And then
2
just,
weeks. That's the
yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Win.
Yeah. When? Yeah. When do you dead a lead? How many non-contacts before classified as dead?
Oh, I hate deading leads.
I know you do. That's why you have too many past two tests.
I know. That's true. Why are you throwing out?
Oh,
all that stuff?
I know. Sorry.
Cold leads.
Okay.
All right. So when do you dead a lead? I guess it's just kind of a case by case basis. If you started out the conversation and it's an awesome deal, but maybe you just haven't been able to get a hold of them, I'm gonna keep calling them forever.
Yep.
Yeah. If it's something where it wasn't even close, and now you're getting ghosted, you're not talking to them. I mean, it's just case by case. If you have a database with 1,000 leads and that's all you got, then hang on to everything and just keep calling over those leads. But if you have, what we have, you kind of have to just prioritize and be efficient with your time.
Yeah, Daniel, I mean, it just depends. Everything comes down to what information have you received from the seller. If the seller hasn't given you anything and they're like, just give me an offer, and it's like a driving for dollars and it's in rough shape, just keep tapping that. Remember, following up with a lead typically, and you can, and maybe it's a little bit different for you because it's been filtered a bit, but most of the time when you're following up, it's a 30-second call or text. 80% of the time they don't pick up. Yeah. So the times that they do pick up, that takes some time, but it doesn't take a tremendous amount of time to do lead follow-up. So what I would say with dead is, do they actually want to sell the property, and is it in rough condition? If it's in rough condition, you follow up with them forever. They're going to have to sell to a cash buyer. Banks will not finance that purchase. Yep. A conventional buyer is not going to be able to get a loan for that property. They have to sell it cash. So if it's a rough property, until they sell it or until they tell you that they're putting in thousands of dollars in rehab, keep them in there.
Keep doing it.
But if they're just, if it's somebody that's got a decent, a good looking property, it's in decent shape, move on. Remember, we're looking for ugly properties. We're looking for properties that have potential equity. As is, they're worth way less than what there would be if they were renovated. It's like, going, when you turn in your car, when you're getting a new car and you've got a nice car and you've kept it really clean, you're going to get a higher value for that to trade in than if you are going in there with this beat up, rusty, terrible car that you're trying to trade in. It's the same thing. You want to look for those rusty, beat up cars that you can fix up and renovate and buy for pennies on the dollar so that you can fix it up and sell it for something beautiful. What classifies a warm lead?
A timeline.
Okay.
If they're kind of within that realm of what makes sense, if you've had that conversation, warm is going to be just the amount of time you think it's going to take for them to actually want to put a deal together.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, warm leads is timeline. Listen, hot leads, they want to sell right now. They want to sell in the next week or two. That's a hot lead. Warm lead is, hey, I want to sell this, but my tenant doesn't get out till July 31st, and I can't sell it before then or don't want to or whatever else. I need to go in there. I just inherited the property, and I need to go and get all the heirlooms from the house, and I need to distribute those amongst the family, and then I can make a decision. I'm not going to be in town. I'm out of town. I'm wherever. I want to be in town to make that decision. Now, you can try to shorten those timelines on any one of those, but if they're not willing to, you can't force them. So a warm lead is just a longer timeline.
Yeah, and just the potential of a deal. Yeah.
Anthony, what is the funniest thing you've ever encountered in wholesaling?
The funniest thing. I've encountered a lot of things in people's houses. But the funniest thing in wholesaling, I think there's a guy that we went to in his house. He was a hoarder. Yep. So he had, it was like floor to ceiling, like newspapers and just stuff.
Yep.
And he knew where everything was.
Yep. Everything.
It was insane. I was like, oh, hey, so do you have, I think he had solar. And I was like, hey, yeah. And he's picking through like this pile of stuff. And, it's right here. And I'm like, how? Yeah, and so it was everything. It's like you want to, I'm looking in the kitchen. I didn't know where anything was. It was like an organized chaos. And oddly enough, it didn't smell bad.
Right.
Yeah, I always expected to have like this musty.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was a nice guy, but just his ability to sift through all that crap.
Yeah.
And be able to find
That's
stuff
crazy.
is amazing.
Mike, what was the deal? That woman thought we stole her cat. Was that what was happening? Somebody thought we stole her cat, right? Like her cat was missing, and we had just bought a property at the auction, and this gal was convinced, and she was wild looking. I mean, she was
a cat lady.
Oh yeah, I mean she was, and she probably had like 30 cats, but one of them was missing.
Mittens.
And she was convinced that we had it in her car. So she's looking around her car and she's screaming at us, "You stole my cat! You stole my cat!" And we're just walking out of the property like, what is going on here? This is insane. I think she called the police.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Mike looks like he'd steal a cat.
Yeah. Mike's deathly allergic to cats. He might do, yeah. If he did, it would be just to punish himself or something. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, there's just, I think the people, the most of the funniest part of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Depends. All right, how many leads does it take before you get a deal? Just depends. I mean, on average with us, it's about 32 of the qualified leads that come in that's getting followed up with Chad and then get over to Ryan. So it just depends. If you're calling on your own, if you're doing your own lead generation, that's going to be smaller. because you're going to know which leads are going to be the best, and you're going to sink your claws into them, and you're going to convert those. There's just, when somebody else is calling and then there's a handoff and then we get it closed, there's a little bit of slippage there because we're not doing the calls ourselves and staying so focused on those deals. So I think as you're starting out, you got to play around with it, but I would expect that you're going to get somewhere around, 1 out of 20 Tashuna Ray. Yeah. So there you go. Good question. Oh, come on. Look at this. Daniel closed a $20K probate deal in February. I drive for dollars, but looking for more. Come on, Ray.
Oh, yep.
Gotta get over here. Because it's too loud for people. You're getting crazy. You're out of control. You're out of control. Congratulations, Daniel. We recognize you. We support you. We love you. It's incredible. Guys, listen, everybody, you need to squad up. This is not competition. This is collaboration. Everyone, there is not too many people doing this. There's way more properties than there are investors. We need to collaborate and build around, because I'm telling you, you become the people that you surround yourself with, and being around people that have the same drive and the same goal and the same dreams in real estate, and just understand how valuable it is to go out there and solve the problems of people in our community that won't solve it themselves. You need to support and love on all those people, and bring as much energy and enthusiasm to those people as possible, because it raises everybody up. So make sure that you're squadding up in there. Awesome. Jose, can you touch on the mindset to have before going into a calling session? Also, after a session with a lot of no's.
Yeah, that's tough. And that's the thing that was tough for me when I first started this business. I mean, I got a lot of no's in my previous profession anyway, but like when you're on the phone and it can just drain you, and you're just so hungry for a deal and you just keep getting no's and no's and no's. The mindset is just understanding that you have to have faith in yourself in the process. I mean, follow the script. It works. Mm-hmm. It works. I like to, whenever I'm kind of like, I gotta do this today, I'll call one of my kind of like lead follow-ups.
Hot lead.
Yeah. Somebody that I've had good conversations with. Hey, Mrs. So-and-so. Yeah. How you doing? Just wanted to follow up with you. And then it just it gets me going. I had a good conversation. Then I go, all right, let's get to business. Let's solve problems. Let's change lives.
Yeah, and Jose, stand up, get some movement, get some energy, don't be in a dark room, don't be in like a weird spot. If you need to get a little jolt of some sort of motivation or whatever else, go for that.
I set an alarm every hour, and every hour I do 25 push-ups, 25 sit-ups, and 25
squats?
25 squats.
Every hour?
Every hour.
Wow.
And that kind of gets me going. I get off the phone.
Pop that top off.
Yeah, you want me?
Oh, Hunter, stop it.
Yeah.
Hey, Jose, these guys are both married, so they've dealt with a lot of no's.
Yeah, we've dealt with a lot of no's. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's a fact. I mean, listen, we deal with no's all, our whole life and a lot of different aspects. So just remember, these people are just saying no to you because they don't need your help right now.
Yeah.
Right? If you're going after the most distressed properties in your marketplace, eventually they're gonna have to do something. So if they don't need your help right now, don't take it personally. Just keep following. Just keep going after the ones that are ready and are open to it, and that are having a good conversation with you. So, and then just tie yourself to what is the potential that you can do with this business. What is the big time goal? Yeah. Is it owning a lot of real estate? Is it being the bank and providing funding for people in your community or people in your family or whatever else that want to do real estate as well? Is it developing? Is it flipping properties and making the neighborhoods beautiful? All of those things are important, and all of those things are just incredibly rewarding. And so just tie into that reward and just understand you're just getting closer to it and closer to it and closer to it. And without a doubt, if you're having quality conversations with distressed property owners, you're going to win. You will win.
Jose, if you don't have a whiteboard, get one. And all those things, the things that are important to you, the things that you're trying to change in your life or someone else's life, write it on that board and put it in your office or wherever you are, so you can look at it and go, okay, this is why I'm sitting down. This is why I'm doing this today.
Yep. Awesome. 7 more minutes. We are doing it. Been following Brent Daniels on YouTube. I always get motivated just by listening to his voice. Come on, Lopson 207. I'm going to ring this for myself.
Do it.
Here. Yeah. $35,000.
Awesome.
How long would it take you in your old profession to make $35,000?
Half a year.
Half a year. Half a year.
Hey, so
he's making it this week.
listening to his voice. So I don't know. You don't know the history. Like I've known this guy since he was 18 years old.
Yep.
We lived together. We played college football together.
Yep.
And Jeremy and I, we were all roommates. And man, getting up in the morning, he's like feeding us spoonfuls of honey. It's gonna motivate you. It's natural.
Yeah.
And like just always on us in the gym. Just hearing that. He's probably the most positive, like upbeat guy I've ever met in my life.
Oh,
and
you're
so
there.
being around him and being able to listen to him and get this knowledge that he's been culminating over the
But
last
it's like
years.
there's people that listen to the voice, and then there's people that take the action.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Huge
There's plenty of
difference,
people
huge
that-
difference.
And 35K, that's the amount of value you provided right there in your community. I mean, just
awesome.
absolutely incredible. When we show that text that Jeremy sent me yesterday of he's got that Apache Junction deal at like 134,000. 132,000, whatever. It's like, that's incredible. That is absolutely incredible, the amount of value that you can provide in the marketplace just by doing this business. And that's what it is. The income we make is equal to the amount of value we provide.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's incredible. Yeah. Lopson. We'll wrap it up. Guys, thank you for joining. Let's bring everybody on here. Let's everybody give a round of applause for Ryan. Yes. Okay, it'll just be me. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, guys.
There it is.
Thank you.
There you go. If you guys want Ryan on here more often, let me know. I thought this was great.
No,
I thought
I love
it was
it.
really great.
I love it.
I thought it was great. So on behalf of the TTP team here, we've got Daniel Walker, we've got Mike Mahoney, we've got Matt Hill, we've got Jesse Pearson, and we've got Alejandra Murch on the Instagram 1s and 2s. Thank you guys for joining. Next week's going to be absolutely bananas. Do not miss it. 10 a.m. every Wednesday. Thank you for joining. I love you guys. We are doing incredible work out there, so keep going. Until next time, go talk to people.
Thanks,
See ya.
guys.